What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me. It is your host, the Cabrini Kid himself, the champ. And today we are doing something we haven't done before. We are actually doing our first in-studio episode of the Cabrini Kid Podcast. I'm so excited that everybody's here and is joining. We are live, as you can see. We also got the full episode coming in a little bit too. So we're doing a whole lot. But before we get sidetracked, I want to introduce my esteemed special guest for our very first episode in the studio. Another father,
Yes, sir.
another entrepreneur, another motivational speaker, somebody who's bringing a wealth of knowledge to the show today. King Maul, say what's up to the people.
What's up, y'all? Appreciate you for having me here.
Absolutely.
Definitely an honor. Looking forward to the conversation. Fatherhood is one of the best things, so to be able to converse with a great father such as yourself, man, let's get it rolling. Let's get it rolling,
do it.
man.
We're going to dive in. We're going to dive in. So, being a father, how do you feel like that affects a lot of your decision making? Because your son is how old?
4.
He's 4? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're 4 years in now. What was what was pre-father King Maul like as opposed to 4 years in Father King Maul like?
Got you. So pre-father, I took every risk possible. Like I was that person that fall forward, see if it worked. If it didn't, it is what it is. Go back to it. I could sleep in the car as long as I was just trying. Now, everything got to be calculated. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be calculated. I tell everyone, my son's 4 years old, but I'm 4 years old as a father.
Right.
So now I'm still learning the process as I go, but I know that the things that I do or the risks that I take have to make sense, and I really got to put my all into it so it can do well, or I learn from it so I can start building again. But the risks I take now, man, are very, very calculated.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I think one of the big things too is when situations present themselves, now you have to weigh future things that are coming down the line as opposed to just here in the now. Can I make that decision? One case in point. So my son is 11.
Okay.
But when he was literally probably 2 months old, I was invited to a G League tryout.
Oh, nice.
And for me, obviously, this is as an athlete, this is something you worked a long time for, right? But at the same time, I just had a son. And I asked his mom, I was like, well, what do you think about this? And she was like, well, if you really want to go, if it's your dream, go do it. But I immediately start weighing it. I'm like, I'm going to miss first steps, first words, him just laughing, giggling, playing, doing all types of little cute stuff. I'm going to miss all that. And so I turned it down. I didn't go. And I've never looked back and said, oh man, I wish I had went. I could have been something. I've never had that feeling.
Okay.
But I do remember telling my son that. And I told him, I said, as a father, we give up a lot of things that you guys will never really understand. But the moment you're a father, it's not about us anymore.
Right.
And so now that you are 4 years a father, still kind of, well, not really getting your feet wet, but you're in it now.
Right.
Now that you're 4 years in as a father, how does that shape how you view the world? And how does that shape really your attitude towards like him?
So, great question. I'll say this. I never was tall enough to go to the G League to try out. So you got that, you got that one. I never was tall enough. So he lucky because I would have went. He lucky because I would have went. But my viewpoint and just make sure I'm on the same page. Basically, things that I'll put it this way. I'm trying to be politically correct. There's a lot of, like even just today alone, I had to make a decision, right? I had to make a decision. Now, I don't step out a lot. When I'm doing events, when I'm doing podcasts, it has to align with what's going on, right? So with him, we have conversations, and I tell him, hey, Dad's going to be gone because of this. Dad's not going to be home to later tonight because of this. Like I communicate with him
Mm-hmm.
in a way, and a why behind it is because I don't have to. I mean, he's 4. I don't have to, but I do it to let him know that I'm not here, but I'm still present, and what I'm doing is for him. Like being on this podcast is, yes, I appreciate you inviting me, but it's for him.
Mm.
It's for him. Like it's fatherhood. It's for him. Me doing certain events is not for me. It's for him because now I build a relationship with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now he has another person looking out for him
Right.
if he's out and about. So hopefully I answered your question, but
Yeah.
like everything that I do is for him. So there's things that I've had to not do. It's all about, does it make sense? Is it going to really help me benefit as a father, and is it going to help me benefit as a human being as well? So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that to your point when you said I don't have to tell him,
right,
but I tell him so that he knows Daddy just didn't come home today, and I don't know where he is. And I think that that's super important too, because raising young men who, and we'll get into your childhood and stuff like that, but raising young men in an era that's different than the era that we grew up in,
Correct.
but also different than the era our parents grew up in, is tough because there's no manual for parenting.
At all.
We kind of all learning on the fly, making it up as we go. And I was telling one of my coworkers that at work, and he was like, I took a parenting class, and me and my other coworker who have sons, we were like, parenting class.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, just to get some of the basics. We were like, feed the baby, burp the baby, clean the baby. That's all you need to know. Like everything else you're going to learn on the fly, right?
Right.
But I feel like raising a young man different than how we grew up is a lot of deprogramming for us, but a lot of instilling, and I know people may not like the term indoctrination, but instilling and teaching and guidance and things like that for them. Do you think there's a lot of things that you had to deprogram from your childhood to now that you have a son that you don't want him to like ever have to experience?
Can I talk freely?
Yes.
Hell yeah. There's a lot, man. I grew up where my mother, my dad, my stepdad, it was their way or no way at all. Mm-hmm. Right. I grew up where, like, I was told as far as let's talk financial, not how to no way of balancing a checkbook or credit. I was told that, hey, if something's wrong with you, hold it in. You don't show emotions. I was told to the point where, hey, if somebody hits you, make sure you hit them back. But if you hit them back and you get in trouble, you're going to get in trouble. So it's like counter, like it don't make sense.
Right.
So I was taught so many things that I look at it from their standpoint. They weren't taught. They were trying to, like you said, do things differently. But I had to hey, son, what's going on? Like, why are you feeling? Let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your emotions. At his age now, so I don't look at how to raise him, but I look at what his age and where he is. Like at 4 years old, he's coming into the emotional standpoint. He's coming into his independence, right? He's coming into these full things. So I look at it from a standpoint, if I don't mold him today and I do what they taught me to do and how they raised me, he's going to be a menace to society. He's going to be a menace, especially now with these young kids. So I have to, hey, son, how do you feel? All right, so if you feel angry, let's talk about it. Why do you feel angry? Mm-hmm. Like, all right, you feel angry because of this? All right, my guy. Just because you couldn't get your toy don't mean you need to be upset. Why didn't you get your toy? Oh, because you did this. Let's be accountable. Mm-hmm. Let's be accountable. So, yeah, deprogram from that. And he's not there yet, but I've seen my biological father love women. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a lot. So it's a lot of things I had to change and make sure I start teaching him how to do. But man, we it's different now. These kids, smart.
He said they're smart, and they pick up on everything. It's nothing that you can hide from kids. And I've always felt like there's always a fine line between how much you tell them about what's going on, right, because they may not be mentally in a position where they can understand
Right.
certain things. You know,
Right.
like I said, my son's 11, so there's times early in his life where we stayed in some pretty bad places, but it was the best I could do at the time.
Right.
But he didn't know any different. You know, there might have been times when money was tight, where we having spaghetti again.
Right.
You know, but he didn't know any different because I didn't tell him that things were a certain way. But I also understand that there are other situations where you want him to know what's going on, because I do think that there's a place for your child, especially your son, seeing you overcome something.
Right.
Right. Like, because that's going to teach him how to overcome things.
Right.
If he never sees you overcome struggle and he doesn't know that there's a struggle going on, he's just going to kind of be in his own little bubble and he's not going to, be aware. But if you say, man, son, I don't know how, we might be out of here in 2 weeks.
Right.
But you figure out a way to get the money and now y'all good for another month. Your son's gonna say, okay, that's how you hustle. That's how you make sure that you're situated and your child is taken care of and you did what you had to do. I want to be like that when I grow up.
Right.
And for me, growing up in the projects in Chicago, having seen that environment, obviously for me, my son will never see that. But there's also things that we experienced growing up that you almost kind of want them to go through, because it turns you into the person that you are today. So do you feel like you give your son like the leeway or the space to have those same experiences, even though you already know what's about to happen? Do you let him have that experience, or do you try to shield him from having that experience and say, no, don't do that?
I'm not going, man. I try to shield him as much as possible. There are times I'm like, you know what? Just go ahead, and I want you to just see what happens. And then I catch myself like, oh, no, don't, because I know the outcome. Yeah, man, I try to shield him as much as possible. I get what you're saying. Unfortunately, I just know what comes with it, and I don't want him to experience certain things, but I know at times that doesn't do him well, right? But I'm gonna ask you this question. We were just saying it. So, boom, you with the struggle, when we're talking about that, how do you tell your son that, hey, we about to be gone for 2 weeks, in 2 weeks? Like that. When you were saying, I was like, I want to see what he says. How do you tell him?
I grew up in a household where our parents, unless we saw something, we didn't really know what was going on.
Okay.
My dad is very old school military. Okay. There was a such thing as grown folks business, right? And you're a child, you don't have to get out our conversation. Yeah. We talking about bills, you go in the living room and go play your game or whatever. So our parents really didn't involve us in a lot of the decision making, and we didn't know a lot of the things that were happening until it literally happened. Like, I remember one night our parents woke us up. I have a twin sister, so our parents came in the room, woke us up, and they said, "Hey, pack a bag. We're going on a trip." This is 2:00 in the morning. We packed our bag. We go downtown to the Greyhound station, get on the bus. We go to Milwaukee. We don't know why we did that, but later on in life, my oldest brother told me, he said, well, your mom's friend was killed on y'all doorstep and your mom wanted to get you out of that situation. But our parents never told us. To this day, my dad has never told me that.
Never said nothing.
Never said. Now, I'm sure he knows that I know, but for them, it was, we have to make this decision, and the less conversations we have to have, the more control we have over the situation. Y'all just get up, pack a bag, go get in the car. This is what we doing. And so that's how I grew up.
Okay.
I'm not like that per se.
Okay.
I've struggled, but I don't tell my son the severity of the struggle. If I lost a job, he might be like, why are you home today? I'm like, oh, I don't have a job right now, but I'm working on getting another one, and I'll have one soon.
All right.
Well, what about this? What about this? Don't worry about that. I got it. Don't worry about
Gotcha.
it. Because he, is of that age where he can kind of start putting two things together. Well, if you don't have a job, Christmas coming up. What that mean for my, so I don't tell him the severity of a struggle, but if it's something that I think he should know, I'll tell him. I'll let him know. Hey, we're moving. Hey, we're not going over here anymore. Hey, this is what's going on. Oh, well, why is this going on? Well, because of this. But what about this? Don't worry about that. Really, because I don't want to burden him with more information and emotion than he's ready to deal with. I don't want him to have to worry about anything else except go to school, get good grades, be a good kid. That's it. But I have had situations where things have happened where I'm just like, I'm going to have to tell him.
Right.
But those conversations went well, and I think it's because, he knows that, or I hope that at this point I've instilled in him enough to know that if I'm making a decision for us, it's because I think it's in our best interest, and I think he trusts that, so.
Gotcha. I know, I don't think my son is at that age. I would say when we're talking, like, there's times he's like, hey, I want to go eat here. It's not that I can't do it, but sometimes I don't do it on purpose. And the reason why is because I don't want him to get caught up into the every time I pass this restaurant or every time I go into the store, we stopping. So there's times it's like, no. And I could try to explain, but he's not old enough. So I try to make it into a way that he can understand, which is kind of hard. But there's times I just don't do it. I'm like, we're not doing that. We're going to the house and we're gonna eat.
We got food at home.
Yeah, we're gonna eat. But yeah, I had to ask you that question to see your thoughts on that. I like that, definitely.
Now, are you with his mom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How did that affect y'all relationship?
Great question. Oh boy, she gonna be watching this. Let's be real. So, and we were talking about this recently. So when he came into the picture, it became all about him,
right?
And us started to drift apart. It just became a routine. Oh, we need to make sure he's good. Make sure he's up for school. Make sure he's straight. Hey, I'm headed here. You do this, and we stop us.
Yeah,
like that connection. And I'm glad that we caught on to it, because when we noticed it, it started at one point we just started drifting apart. Like, just being real, we just started drifting apart. Like, there was small things. I would be like, bro, like, why is this water sitting like this? What are you doing? Like, pick up the water. Like, don't, or I'm like, yo, I want to go, let me go hoop. I've been home all day with, you know what I mean? It was things where we started to bicker at things we could have communicated. But now we're at a point where we're like, all right, hold on, let's sit back and let's take time for us. All right, let's go on this trip, or let's make sure throughout the week we're doing this, so that we're connecting, and we're at that point where we're rebuilding. But it's still about him, because obviously, but rebuilding. But man, it hit a lot of aspects in the relationship, a lot of it. And I wouldn't lie to you. There was, yo, I'm out. I'll be real. I'm out. I can't do this. But I ain't never been a runner,
right?
So I had to adjust my emotions,
right?
Yeah. Did you experience where it?
Yeah, I would say that it definitely did. Like, we had a conversation beforehand. So we were planning for him.
Oh, you were planning?
We were planning for him.
Yeah, I wasn't planning. COVID happened.
Oh, COVID baby.
Yeah, I wasn't planning.
We just been around each other for 24 hours.
Hey, we had nothing else to do.
And I think for us, it was less about it not being about him and more about adjusting to that parental home lifestyle.
Gotcha.
Because before him, like, we would go out, we would party, go out with friends, get a bottle, go to, whatever, blah, 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 pool parties, everything, right? But when now you have a child, you can't do that. And I feel like there was some antsiness that built up because you kind of be itching a little bit. Like, I got to get out. I got to get out.
Right.
So I don't think that it was necessarily that we weren't focused on him, because if anything, we were probably like hyper focused, right?
Right.
But then that itch starts creeping back in, and we were both pretty young. I was 31. She's a couple years younger than me, but you think you get it out of your system, and then when you can't do it, you'd be like, I wonder what everybody up to this weekend. Mm-hmm. And then, so, but I think even given that situation, like me and his mom are not together, we've really tried to make sure that no matter what happens, he knows that we always loved him, right? That he's always going to be taken care of, that I'm always there for him. She's always there for him. Right. Even though we have two different households, there's benefits, to both, so, but I think at the end of the day, he kind of gets the best of both worlds.
Gotcha.
But I'm also in a situation where he gets to see a lot of love, a lot of care, home, things like that. I grew up with both my parents until I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
So for the most part, I didn't grow up in a single parent household.
Right.
Now they may have been not present but not present.
Right.
Because they were going through their own issues and battles as well. But that was my biggest thing. I was just like, oh man, like now I'm a statistic, and that was a whole nother struggle in and of itself. But that leads me directly into a very good question about pressure. Mm-hmm. Now that you're a dad, do you feel like society places pressure on fathers in the sense of expectations, what you present to them in your child? Do you think there's a lot of pressure on fathers' shoulders in today's society that a lot of men probably have issues dealing with?
Yeah, a ton of it. I mean, you got to look at it from a standpoint of society wants you to fully provide, but then also come at you from a standpoint of why aren't you there? Then they have it where they want you to look a certain way, like the standards of society is just unrealistic. Unrealistic to a point where I don't think anyone can actually meet those standards. Mm-hmm. Right? Society just has it to the point where they'll put, man, I'm pretty sure you see it on IG, mm-hmm. Oh, you need to do this, and I feel like, man, you just got to know what works for you. Mm-hmm. Right now, not saying don't be present. I'm not saying that, but understanding like the balance of it. I'm at a point where if it doesn't make, like I was saying earlier, if it doesn't make sense, if it really doesn't matter to a point mm-hmm. where if it's negatively or it's taking me away from him or the household or me evolving as a human being, I'm more likely may not do it. I may not do it. So yeah, man, society's crazy. It was a question that was asked to me. How was it? If in business, so if your son emotionally needs you, but your business needs you financially, which one would you take? Right. Mm. And I sat back and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the emotional standpoint. I've failed in business many times and bounced back. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure every millionaire that you know have taken a loss after loss after loss. Unless they walked into money, they've taken losses. Mm-hmm. But emotionally, if I don't be there for that moment, that could be can't even say it, a detrimental, right? You get what I'm saying? Detrimental moment that he needed me for. And society will tell you, oh, well, what about providing for him? he'll have that emotion to, like, and if you pick the finances aside, it'll be like, but he needs you, so you'll go crazy trying to fit in with them, or
trying to
trying to
be
figure out
everywhere at
yeah,
once.
it's wild. It is wild. So they do add pressure. That's why you have a lot of dads they're like, well, I'm just gonna provide, and then they're not there for their kids.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of dads that's doing that, and I mean, I can't say what's right or wrong, but for me, I can't support that move. I gotta be there. I'd rather do the bare minimum and make sure he's taken care of, but I have to be there. Thank God I got the best of both worlds right now. So thank God.
Right. Yeah, and I think that for a lot of fathers who might be watching, or if you don't have any kids yet, right? I think that's something to definitely make them aware of as a potential pitfall, because you can be in a situation where you're starting to feel the weight of the decisions that you have to make, right? Like you said, my son's not doing well in school. I know I need to sit down with him, but I'm also trying to get this off the ground, and I have to be there physically to go do these events or whatever.
Right.
And you can't be in two places at once. But like you said, if you're not there for him emotionally, that may affect him way longer than your business failing.
Correct.
And so I think it's very important for a lot of young fathers and fathers to understand that. Not saying if you have an opportunity to go make $1 million, don't do it.
Right, correct.
That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But I'm saying if you had to choose, understand the gravity of both choices and figure out what works best for you.
Right.
And then too, I don't know a lot of dads that are in this situation where they are taking care of a child themselves without any help, like without a significant other or anything like that. But having that person definitely helps.
Yeah.
But it's not the end all to be all, because at the end of the day, these are decisions that you have to make.
Right.
And they may or may not affect the household too. So.
No, you're 100% right, man. So back to your question about social media. Social media, you do have these fathers. Once again, they put on this persona. They look like they're overcommitted but not present. Oh, I'm there. I'm this dad and blah blah blah. But then they're not present, right? They're not present, and it bothers me because who you putting on for? You putting on for the world to make it seem like you the man, but then your kid barely got wearing the same size shoes they wore last year when like squeezing his feet. You know what I mean? It's small things that stand out. So
like Nick Cannon, for instance, right? Nick Cannon got what, like double-digit kids.
Yeah, he got a basketball team.
You can't give to those kids as a man what they need. Now, you can provide for them financially.
Right.
You can pop up once a month, and I don't know what their schedule is. I don't know if he sees them once a month, once every couple of weeks. I'm not sure.
Right.
But when I see situations like that, and it kind of becomes like a little bit of a laughing stock, because they're like, oh, he's got another kid coming. But I also feel like fathers look at that, they're just like, he has a dad,
right,
but he don't.
Right. He's taken care of, but financially, but on every other standpoint, he's not there. How I feel about that? So I just feel now I gotta be politically correct. I feel nothing. So I get Nick Cannon, right? But he's no different than a dude out here. He just got money, but he's no different than the dude out here that's sleeping female to female that made all these babies but not present.
Right.
There's no, he shows up and I'll go take Christmas pictures here and then Christmas pictures here. That's good, but I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. Like the kids need you. They need you. Mm-hmm. And not only is he busy, like he bouncing from kid to kid because it's different moms, but he got a lot of businesses going on.
Yeah.
So when do they get to see him? I'll be surprised if neither one of them, when they get older, they have a I'm mad at my dad moment. I'll be surprised. I'd be surprised, but yeah, I'm one and done. So
Me too.
yeah, my man, I'm one and done.
Yeah. The factory is shut down.
It's not shut down, but I'm doing everything I can. Doing everything I can. People are like, no, not today. Man, I'm doing everything. Yeah, my son, he took me through there. Yeah, he took me through there. But I love him to death.
Right.
But
yeah.
He has, not to get off topic, but my son, one of the things I did is incorporate him into like majority of everything that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like my son has property. He's the podcast. He's a part of that one, not the other one that I'm a part of.
Mm-hmm.
He's a part of like different businesses. He has his own business, so he's a part of pretty much everything. And I still let him be a kid, but then I break down certain things to him, like with property. I'm like, we'll talk about land. Okay, so if you own the land, and yeah, just like the trees, they grow. Okay, do you know you get money over the years? He's like, oh, really? So I try to educate him in that standpoint. But yeah, he's the goal is to make sure he's taken care of with me here and without me here.
Yeah, and I think it's important to let them, like I mentioned earlier, it's important to let them see you do it and go through it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I posted on Facebook a couple weeks ago. I started a vending machine business in the summer of 2021.
Okay,
I believe 2021 or 2022. I started a vending machine business, and he went with me and picked out the machines.
Nice.
He went with me when I would do the store runs to go to Sam's Club and load up the car and take it to the vending machines.
Okay.
He would take the money out and put it in the bank bag, and then we'd go to the bank. You know, so I think it's super important for him to see what goes into things, the effort that goes into it, because he's at the age now where he's playing sports. And he'll say something like, Dad, do you want me to go to the NBA or the NFL? And I'm like, whatever one you were willing to work for, because you're on the tablet right now.
Yeah.
But them kids are working.
Yeah. At
you know?
5, 6.
And he called me last night and said that he wants to get into boxing. And I used to take him with me to the boxing gym when I was boxing, and he would hit the heavy bag while I'd be over here training. And I look over out the corner of my eye, and he's punching the bag, and he knows how to use all the equipment. But I exposed him to it. I wanted him to see the work ethic that goes into it so that he can decide for himself, am I ready to do that?
Right.
And I grew up in a very entrepreneurial household, so
Okay.
I definitely wanted him to see, you know, this is what Dad's doing. I'm starting this is how you do this, and all the little different things that I was into. And you made the comment earlier, but I still let him be a kid.
Right.
Because I think it's important for them to have a childhood and not be pushed into things. And a lot of kids, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you can't say whether it's right or wrong.
Right.
You know, if you push a kid, go to basketball practice, go to basketball training, and on the weekends you got games, and we're doing travel ball, we're doing all this. If you're pushing him into it, yeah, he might go to the NBA, but is he gonna love it? Maybe not. He'll be rich, but he didn't have a childhood.
Right.
But at the same time, if it's always just go be a kid, then they get a late start on certain things, like having an understanding about business,
Correct.
having an understanding about work ethic, even having an understanding about what it takes to be a good athlete.
Right.
They're gonna get a late start to that if you don't push them to an extent and expose them to an extent. So I guess, like, where do you draw the line between, like, have you had moments where you said I'm pushing him too much, or have you had moments where you said I'm not encouraging him enough to do certain things?
I push him too much on the educational standpoint. So I'm always do your learning. So his tablet, do it. Like I'm very, and if he messes up, and I know he knows it, it bothers me. So I had to check me. I had to check me and realize, all right, he's still a kid, like those things. But in the sports aspect, I just, whatever you want to do. Like if you want to play sports, great. If you want to compete in spelling bee, great. Let's just, when you get older, let's do whatever it is that you can compete so I can be in the stands screaming. I don't care what it is, whatever it is.
Make it something competitive.
Whatever you want to do, Like they gonna be mad at me if it's a science fair and y'all it's a that's just in me. But I don't care what he do on that. But being hard on him is definitely the educational side, and I had to step back because he stopped trying. He's like Dad, you can see it where he's like, I want to please you, I want to make you happy, but it's like you yelling. I don't yell, but me like, hey, do this, whatever. Me being stern with him, it turns him to a point where he just goes into a shell. So I had to check me and understand him at the time. So yeah, but you said something earlier when you were talking about your childhood, and I was thinking about it. Like, I think the reason I'm the way I am is because my childhood was so mixed up. Now I say that my biological father, at the age of 5, he left. He's a drug addict, alcoholic. I mean, we lived in the projects, didn't have nothing. Then my stepdad came and gave us the life where it was not
Y'all had made it, but it was better.
It was straight. But even then, it was kind of like you can still struggling. And I had my stepdad had his own landscaping business, so an entrepreneur. But my mom always told me go to college, get a job. So I was conflicted in between that. So my whole life it just ran into not knowing what to do, and I didn't understand who I was until I got into my 30s. Like, bro, in my 20s, I done slept in the car. I done you name it. I done did any and everything, doing the dumbest stuff. Thank God I'm not arrested. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I was stupid. I was following family members that was in the streets, and I'm like, bro, that's not my lifestyle. So now my son's being 4, saying all that he's 4. Mind you, my dad left me at 5. So how I am, I'm like, bro, make sure you're there when he gets 5. Make sure you're there after 5. So I'm more hard on myself as a father because I'm like, I gotta make sure that I don't follow the blueprint.
Yeah.
So even when I was telling you I haven't had a drink in 7 months, it feels good because my dad was a drug addict and drunk, and he lived with me. I moved him in with me after we didn't have no relationship for 30-some years. He moved in with me when my son was born, and then he, for a year, boom, I got him a pressure washing company, everything, but then he reverted back to drugs. And one thing I told my mom, my son's mom, you're not going to be inconsistent in his life because how you hurt me, and I still feel it to this day. So that's why I'm hard on myself to the point where after 5, all right, let's get to 6, let's get to 7. So every year I got to make it to make sure I'm present in his life. That's why I moved the way I move.
Yeah.
So,
and I think for me, like my father's always been in my life. When earlier I said up until sophomore year, my mom left sophomore year. So from sophomore year of high school on, my dad raised us, and I got to see him pretty much go cold turkey from a drug addiction.
Oh wow!
Because he couldn't afford to go do the treatment thing.
Gotcha.
Because he had to work now. He's the only income in the household. And so I saw him go through the withdrawals. I saw him go through all that. I saw all that. But I say that to say his biggest thing was always education. And he's always been an entrepreneur, but his biggest thing was always education. And so for me, I got to see him go through a struggle. I saw him come out of the struggle. But I also took from that and instilled in my son the importance of education. You know, I got an academic scholarship to go to college, and I told my son, I want the same for you.
Right.
Because, you know, whether or not you could bounce or catch a ball, you still can have your school paid for.
Correct.
But at the same time, we're now in an era where college is not the end all to be all.
Correct.
You know, like you said, he might get a pressure washer kit and start his own pressure washer business and be very successful. Right. You know, without having to go to college. So that's just not the era that I grew up in. Was if you can graduate high school, you're doing good. And if you got to college, you was kind of like the crown jewel, like, oh, he going to college.
Yeah.
but everybody in our environment wasn't doing that. Now it's kind of a little bit more commonplace. Like if you don't go to college, what's wrong?
Right.
And there's also opportunity for them to do other things, and it doesn't always have to be college, especially now with the amount of debt that people have. But a lot like you, like my parents didn't teach me and my sister about financial literacy. They didn't teach us a lot about health, nutrition, those types of things. So now it's incumbent upon our generation to teach our kids. Like I cook as much as I can at home so that my son's not eating McDonald's and candy and all that stuff. Like we might have some sweets here and there.
Right.
But it's important for me to teach him about the things that my parents didn't teach us about so that he can do a little bit better. And then hopefully when he has kids, in 20 some years, there's even more knowledge out there for them to impart upon on that next generation. And that's why it's such a stark contrast between appreciating the struggles that you went through as a kid, but how much of that turned you into the person you are now that your child's not going to have, like growing up in the environment that I grew up in, my son's never going to see that.
Right. No.
I can't drop him off in a sketchy neighborhood because he's not going to make it.
Yeah. I ain't doing it anyway because
he's not going to make it. But I grew up in an environment where I would know how to handle myself in certain situations. He's not ever going to have those experiences. But because I knew how to handle myself in those situations, I can go into certain places. I can have a conversation with anybody. I know how to respect people. I also know how to go into a room and be confident.
Right.
And he's going to have to learn that a different way than I learned it. Right. And I don't know what that's going to look like for him in this, in this day and age. Like me and Flex was talking. When I was in college, we didn't have dating apps.
Nah.
Facebook came my senior year of college.
You had to have a talk game.
Huh?
You had to have a real talk
game. You
game.
had to actually talk to people.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, people who are younger in their teens and 20s, they have dating apps. By the time my son gets to be 18, 19, 20, they're not going to have dating apps anymore. It's going to be something else.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that something else is going to be.
Virtual girlfriends.
But he's not going to, where I would have to learn how to actually go up and talk to a young lady. He may not have to do that. Because kids now aren't doing it, And so it's changing. It's changing faster than, I feel like it's changing faster than we as parents can parent. And we're kind of playing catch up with the times and society and the environment. But now that we're in 2026, what do you feel like is something that you hope we left in 2025?
As a father or as a business, or in what aspect?
Whichever. I mean, especially as a father, because what's something that we saw in 2025 that you don't want your child to see in 2026?
Great question. I ain't never been stumped before. That was a good question. I did a lot of second guessing in 2025. A lot of second guessing, and it held me back from a lot of powerful opportunities. Second guessing. I would say stop second guessing. What I have left in 2025 as a father is I'm letting him be him, evolve. I'm molding it, but letting him be him. Not trying to like no, dude, no. Like letting him really, really be him. As safe as I can. But my main thing, I did a lot of second guessing, and that made me miss out on a lot of opportunities. A lot of opportunities, and I was second guessing because, and I guess I'm doing it now because there's Nah, I was yeah. Man, you got me stumped, man. That's a good question, but I know I second guessed a lot
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't sure, and there was moments that I wasn't sure of me if I was going to be able to do it. My confidence walking into 2026 increased, increased heavenly because I put it into God and a lot to the point where I'm showing my son how to leverage and how he could win without overthinking about it. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is in 2025, I was trying to do everything myself. I would hire people to do certain things, but I would still micromanage. This year, I already started where I'm at a point where, hey, I'm going to start this business, but I'm not going to control it. You're going to control it. And this is how we're going to win. And yeah, man, that was a great question. And that's what I did. And I walked in 2026 that way. Starting businesses and leveraging it to the point my son, to give you a prime example,
Mm-hmm.
he's at preschool, like VPK. Yeah, VPK. And he's like, Dad, so guess what? I told the kid's name, I ain't gonna say his name. I told him if he was to go ahead and get more food, it was like food, and bring it to me, I'll give him some of it. And I don't think he realized what he was doing, but he was like basically having someone work for him to
Paying them in
yeah,
food.
and I do that. Like I'll start, say for instance, a pressure washing. Right, I ain't doing that no more. But I'm not gonna go out there and pressure wash. I'm not pressure washing, but I hire somebody to do it.
Right.
Like we have a medical carrier that we started. I may drive like probably 60 days just to get a feel of it, but I already have two people that's ready to drive. So he hears that, and then I'm pretty sure that's where that came from. So
Mm-hmm.
2026 is just going with my first thought and making it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's big. That's big. I think for me, I would say I think I overextended myself in 2025. And what I mean by that is I'm a Gemini, so I like to be doing 10 things at once.
Got you.
But you do a disservice to the things that you really care about doing because you can't give 100% of your time and effort to it because you're doing so many things. And I really need to scale down and focus on the things that I enjoy. And if an idea pops up, yeah, kick it around, but
Right.
you don't have to start everything.
Correct.
And I have a couple of things that are going on in 2026 that are going to be hopefully very lucrative. And I need to focus on those without getting sidetracked on this little tidbit over here. Or,
Gotcha.
hey, that's an interesting idea. Let me spend some time and investigate that, You can do that when you get to the point where you've made it.
Mm-hmm.
And now you don't really have to focus on any one thing for like income or whatever the case is. But I need to be more focused and a little bit more intentional about the things I put my effort into instead of just get it off the ground, run it for a little bit. Oh, that was pretty cool. On to the next thing.
Right.
So
I have my answer now. 2020. There we go. I'm happy you said what you said. 2025. I was like, and I love that you said where you're like doing like 10 things. So I wasn't doing 10 things. I was helping multiple people. Mm-hmm. So I study so much, and just if I just see something, I'm like, okay, let me learn about it. So people end up coming to me, hey Malcolm, can you help me with this? And I overextended myself in helping, and I realized, listen, they'll come to you for the value, but when they make it, they won't never reach back out, right? So now, like this year, oh, you need help? Hey man, like I would love to help you, but this is what this looks like. Here's an invoice. I've been intentional with my time, intentional. Now, if I want to help you off rip, yes, I don't mind. Like if you're like, hey Malcolm, X, Y, and Z, okay, bet, because I know it's genuine. But there's people, they just want to take from you, pour from you.
Energy vampires, I think they call them.
So remember, before we started, and we're talking about certain individuals, I was talking to the young lady, the individual that we're talking about, I poured into that individual heavily, right? As a speaker, showing them the ins and outs, the the small things of when you're on stage, understanding how to count your words so then you can be within 15 minutes, how to actually start a conversation. I poured into it heavily when it turned around. And when it turned around probably a year later, I'm like, hey, so I see you doing this, this, this. Oh, yeah. Hey, man, so connect me with this person. I don't want to be on stage. I know that's your platform, but can you connect me with them because I want to do something behind the scenes? Oh, no, it don't work like that. Oh, say less. Say less. And then they'll call like, hey, man, can you help? Like, all last year, I was pouring into the masses, and I realized my cup was empty. There was days I would come home empty, and you, as a father, you're looking at it like, dang, I ain't got nothing to give him.
Yeah.
Because I'm pouring into every single person. There's not to toot my own horn. There's people that started businesses off the strength of me, like, guiding them. And I'm like, bro, like, I don't look for nothing in return, but show me that you care.
Yeah.
Show me something. Like, what does that look like? Like, so this year I've been very intentional of, look, there's an invoice. I have my intellectual equity is valuable, just like real estate.
Right.
Like, you can't go into a house without paying for it, even if it's renting. So why wouldn't I use my mind the same way as value?
Yeah. Yeah, that's big. That's big too. And while you were talking about that, I want to add to my answer too. I think in 2025, and this has just kind of been me as a person, like I let stuff slide.
Yeah.
I let a lot of things slide when I don't see a necessity in having that conversation. And in 2026, that doesn't necessarily mean I also have to address everything.
Right.
But then there's just times when you have to get away from around certain people. That means you don't have to be in business dealings with these people.
Right.
That means you don't have to be bringing them into your circle and doing certain things with them if they're not the type of person that where it's reciprocal, And I think that it's difficult for somebody who, and I'm sure every Gemini who's watching can attest to this. It hurts more because when we connect with people, you like family.
Right.
And then when that connection is severed, it hurts.
Right.
And I'm sure everybody could say that, but for Geminis, it's a little different. Like we hurt because I'm like, oh, that was my man's. But it also got to that point because I didn't say anything when I should have.
Right.
And so that's something that I think in 2026 I need to be a little bit more mindful of, because I internalize and I just carry it instead of addressing the situation and be like, why did this happen this way? Why didn't this happen? What's going on with this? And so making sure that I get that off my chest so I'm not carrying that weight. So then I'm not taking that home, like you said, and you get home and now it's affecting your home life one way or the other.
Correct.
Negatively because you're just drained or you feel heavy or depressed or whatever the case is. So I need to get that weight off. Get that weight off.
So question for you, because we met through Flex, which I met Flex through hooping. I kid you not. And a lot of people that I meet and I build relationships with is through hooping. Now, obviously, I go to networking events. I've met quite a few people, and I build relationships with them. So one of the things I do, and it's random. I know you're like, what the heck he's talking about? Don't judge me. And I say that because when I watch people hoop, how can I say it? How they carry themselves on the court is how they really carry themselves in real life. To me, I start paying attention to small things, right? So there's individuals. Who do we know? We'll talk about Flex. Flex. So I met Flex. One of the things Flex does very, very well is mid-range.
Yeah.
Right, mid-range. He doesn't overcomplicate it. He just goes to where he knows he's going to shoot, where he knows he's going to score. And
everybody knows that's where he's going.
They know what he's going to do, right? But the thing is, I noticed when I started to build a relationship with Flex, he's calculated in every move that he makes. he's like, okay, this is gonna make before I do this, this is gonna make sense, and the probability of me winning in this is gonna be high. I noticed that, and then when he builds connections, even on the court, he builds relationships with people. He don't argue. We all fuss, but he don't argue. But he builds great relationships. But then I noticed he stays away from certain people. Like I was watching him, right? And I say that to say this: he connects, like you and I. He connects individuals that have great energy because that's what he attracts, right? That's hooping. And then there's people like, I'll say the name. I can't say where he's at right now, but Jacoby. I'll use him as a prime example. For probably a month, 2 months, we hooped. First time meeting him, it was at, I want to say, Glencliff. His initial thing, he was like, oh, all I was doing was passing. Oh, I can play with you because you can pass. But he sets up and he's prepared, like to shoot. Or he you know what I mean? He's in certain angles. He understands it. Same thing in life. Like I noticed outside, I watch his social media, even when he interacts with people outside, he doesn't change. But he knows, like he'll talk to you and y'all have a relationship, but then he'll talk to me and we're laughing, it's still a relationship, but it's angled according to who he's talking to. But he's still himself where he's laughing, he's enjoying the moment, but he's not finna let you mess, like you're not finna get him to a point where he's like, what's up, let's fight. Oh, that's how you feel? All right, whatever. And he gonna go to the next person. Or he may still poke at you to see, okay, you can't control you on the court. Well, I ain't gonna fight you, but you gonna give me the reason to win because now you out of it, right? But that's how he is in life. He's like, yo, I'm not gonna let you alter who I am, but if you feel a certain way, I'm a maneuver around you, and I may say something here and there, but I'm still gonna be me.
Right.
I'm still always gonna be me, and it's just being around people. Basketball really opened my eyes. Like I look at the game different, and most people don't. Like I build a lot of my best friends came from hooping.
Yeah, I agree with that 110% because I remember when I first moved to Arizona from Chicago, I said I only knew 2 people in the state.
Right.
I said, where's the best place for me to meet people? The court.
Yeah.
Signed up for LA Fitness, and I still know most of them dudes to this day. Right. When I first moved here to Tampa about 2.5 years ago, I said I need to get in the league. And it wasn't about necessarily playing and winning in the league. It was like, but this is how I know I can build my circle because if we playing and we in the trenches together and I can rely on you, you can rely on me. You're going to hold me accountable. I'm going to hold you accountable. That's how we forged those bonds. That's how I met Flex, you know. And I think that you, like you said, you learn a lot about a person by playing with them to see how they handle themselves in adversity, how they handle themselves, making new connections with people. We bring a new person on the team. Are they going to accept them in? Or are they going to be standoffish? You know, you learn a lot about them.
A lot.
Yeah.
And it ties in, same thing goes hand in hand with business. I use basketball as far as business. Like I know it's not just going to be me to make a business grow. I never seen a millionaire become a millionaire by themselves. I never seen a business thrive and prosper by itself. You got to connect with people. There's no way. And that I use that in basketball. I have 5 key points: vision, value, consistency, networking, and results that I talk about heavily. And I do that as far as basketball. You need a point guard, you need a shooting guard, you need a small forward, you need a power forward, you need a center, and each component plays a huge part.
Absolutely.
I didn't mean to go off topic.
No. I mean, we went right where we need to go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up, man. Do you have any parting words for everybody who's going to watch this? Tell them, what you into, what you got going on, where they can see you, the socials, everything.
Got you. So I'm an author, a dedicational speaker. I'm a sales strategist, so I have a company that does sales for small businesses, and also a podcast, which, like I said, thank you again for having me on your platform. Finding me, you can go to kingmal.net, or you can go to IG kingmal3, or just simply Malcolm McCloud. When it's all said and done, the thing in life that I will leave you guys with is 10% of the things in life you can't control. How people react, how they talk about you, whatever they say, you can't control. 90% is based off your reactions. So how you respond to certain things is the outcome most of the time. So when you overlook negativity, you overlook haters, you overlook people that are doubting you, you'll start to see yourself get to higher levels because you're putting yourself in atmospheres that they can't breathe in. So start to get to the top of the mountain, leave the haters where they at. Because at the end of the day, if you're a father, the one person that matters or the ones that matter are the ones that look up to you and call you dad.
100%, man. 100%, man. Well, I appreciate you
sir.
for coming.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure,
Yes,
man.
sir.
You're going to be a friend of the show. For everybody who's going to watch, we're going to be live on YouTube. You can catch the show there. You can follow Mal. Reach out. We love all the support. We always going to be here for any comments, concerns. I'm sorry I couldn't get to the chat. I know the chat was probably jumping on the YouTube, but I'm gonna get to the chat and we're gonna answer some questions. I'm gonna say what's up to everybody. Big shout out to everybody who watched tonight. Huge shout out to everybody who's gonna watch in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at the Cabrini Kid Podcast. We're also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see all the posts. Follow the Instagram, the Cabrini Kid Podcast on Instagram, and the TikTok is the same. So until we see y'all next, we out.